Christian Fundamentals, Spiritual Hierarchies, Part 1, by Zeb Fenton. Copyright 2008. This presentation conforms to the teachings of Jesus Christ. The three references for this podcast series are the Bible, the Spiritual Hierarchies by Rudolf Steiner, and the Rosicrucian Cosmo-conception by Max Heindel. In this first podcast of the series, I will talk about terms, references, and relationships with periods of time, spiritual objects, and spiritual entities during those periods of time. First, let me start with materialism and materialistic terms and definitions used in spiritual development. Astronomy is presently a very materialistic science dealing with the Earth and its relationship to the universe. The present Earth and the rest of the planets make elliptical orbits around our Sun, while the Earth spins around on its axis once every 24 hours, making a day, all viewable and described in astronomy. Looking out from the Earth, we see solar systems, stars, galaxies, and many other physical objects in space. But what we do not see are the spiritual entities that guide those physical objects. Because at the present time our eyes and mind have been modified to see this physical world and only it. The reason for this development is rather basic, involving the idea of keeping man's mind and his energies focused upon matter and materiality, thereby enforcing separateness and individuality. Once a man understands his individuality, separateness, and self-consciousness from not only other men, but also in a sense from God, then the process of spiritual conception, integration, assimilation, and evolutionary advancement in spiritual consciousness may begin. Next, I need to discuss the duality of names. Ancient spiritual science was secretive and taught only to the priests. In the name of secrecy, the same name was used over and over again for many objects and entities. The teacher provided the context so the student priests would understand the subject under discussion and all the references. This methodology kept the average man in ignorance. The first example I will now present shows how the duality worked in ancient times as well as the present day. The planets Saturn, Sun, Moon, Earth, Jupiter, Venus, and Vulcan are also periods, or great days of manifestation, or eons, or very long periods of time. So if a teacher was talking about the sun, uninformed citizens would think he was talking about the solar system sun, while in reality he was talking about the great day of manifestation, or the sun period. The differences are great because even though the sun existed during the sun period, it was a great ball of gas physically, while only during the sun period's desire world D-globe did the solar system sun look as it looks now, but more expanded. This duality of names also existed for spiritual beings. Therefore, the Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn were planets as well as spiritual beings of various gradations. Three great sets of spiritual beings worked on man since the Father initiated development in this region of space. The Seraphim, Cherubim, and Thrones are in Group 1. The Dominions, Mights, and Powers are in Group 2. And the third group is made up of the Archai, the Archangels, and the Angels. Sometimes these beings go by the names of Moon equals Angels, Mercury equals Archangels, Venus equals Archai, Sun equals Powers, Mars equal Mights, Jupiter equals Dominions, and Saturn equal Thrones. Another set of names would be Angels, Archangels, Lords of Mind, Lords of Form, Lords of Individuality, Lords of Wisdom, and Lords of Flame, respectively. Two lines separate the chart. The purple line represents spirit. The brown line represents chaos with its shadow, matter. Our shell-formed bodies are made of matter. Our dense bodies are made of chemical matter, which we remake into better bodies during each rebirth life cycle. One has to be careful in reading about the various great periods of development. The Saturn, Sun, and Moon periods were former conditions of the Earth, but the Earth was the whole solar system. By that I mean all the planets were still part of the Sun, in its warm, gas, and watery states. First, the solar system was warm in the Saturn period, then gaseous in the Sun period, and finally watery in the Moon period. Yet the term Sun and Earth were synonymous. The solid condition did not exist in the Saturn, Sun, and Moon periods. Only in the present Earth period was a solid state achievable, and then only after a great length of time during the Earth period. During each of the 4 periods, human or egocentric beings developed and then advanced to a higher state during the next period. The lords of mind were human-like during the Saturn period. Archangels were human-like during the Sun period. And angels were human-like during the Moon period. And now man is egocentric, a human being during the Earth period. In the next Jupiter period, man will be a superman, a demigod, and animals will be human-like. Today's man builds his body out of bone, blood, and gases, but the lords of mind built their bodies out of warmth. Not warmth as we know it, but thought-form warmth. Inner body warmth was transformed into external warmth by the lords of mind. What did the Saturn period Earth look like? It looked like a large, red blackberry with lots of warm sac-like objects. The whole Earth was made of warm sacs, each sac being a body of a lord of mind. Those sacs of warmth are extremely important to our mankind, as we shall see next time. Next time on Christian Fundamentals, Spiritual Hierarchies, Part 2, beginning the Sun Period. This concludes Christian Fundamentals, Spiritual Hierarchies, Part 1.